Hello everyone, my name is Alex from Ernest Alex Reads and welcome to week 2 of the N.E.W.T. Magical Readathon. I know it's Tuesday, I know that's not the beginning of a week, and it actually hasn't been 7 days since the readathon started, but I'm doing this because I'm chaotic. This is just how it is. It's week 2 for me in my personal reading world. So if any of you watched my week 1 vlog, you'll know that I am trying to become a mind medic, and there are 5 subjects that you need to pass at various levels to become a mind medic, and in week 1 I read 5 books in 5 days. I read all of the prompts for the acceptable grade in all 5 of the subjects needed. So this week I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to read prompts from all 5 of the subjects, which are Charms, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Muggle Studies, Potions, and Transfiguration. But this week I'm doing the Exceeds Expectation prompts, so I'm getting better grades in all my subjects this week, and I'm very excited. So I'm just going to talk about the books that I hope to read this week, and what prompts they fulfill. So let's get started. So let's start off with Charms. For the subject of Charms, the Exceeds Expectations prompt is to read a graphic novel, and I am going to be reading On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. I've been eyeing this graphic novel for a long time, and I've seen a couple of videos where people are reading it and how much they love it, and so I'm going to pick this one up today. This is the book that I'm hoping to complete today, and I'm excited for it. For the subject of Defense Against the Dark Arts, for the Exceeds Expectations prompt, is to read the first book that you thought of from your TBR, and for me that was Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This book is written in verse, and that's all I know about it, but I am excited to read it this week as well. The next subject is Muggle Studies, and the Exceeds Expectations prompt is to read a book set in our real world, so a contemporary, and I'm going to be picking up Love from A to Z by s.k.ali. This is like 2 people switch journals or are reading each other's journals somehow. And I have been looking forward to this, even if I don't exactly know what the plot of the book is. It is one of my highly anticipated reads of 2019, so I'm going to be doing that for Muggle Studies. The subject of Potions, the Exceeds Expectations prompt is to read a book with your Hogwarts house colors. If you can't tell by... If you can't tell by watching these videos where I'm like, I have elaborate rules and I'm tracking everything and I'm really into passing all of my exams, you might not know this, but I am a Ravenclaw. So the book Spin Like Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This book has all the Ravenclaw colors on the cover. We've got some blue, we've got some silver, we've got some gold, because the movies did change the colors, and I was super proud of myself for finding a book that I really wanted to read that had all 3 colors, because I just felt like being extra. This book is marketed as like Project Runway meets Mulan. I am very interested in this book, and I am excited to read it this week. And the final subject that I need to get the Exceeds Expectations grade in is Transfiguration, and that prompt is to read a book that is not the first in the series, and I will be listening to the audiobook of Holy Sister by Mark Lawrence. So that is my reading plans for this week, starting on a Tuesday. Like I said before, I'm going to pick up On a Sunbeam first, and I will report with thoughts. So I just passed the 300-page mark of On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. I am in love with this graphic novel. It is so beautiful. I love all of the characters. I love it that it's in space. I'm just enjoying my day so much. This is a chungster, but I love it, and it goes by so quickly, and I just wanted to kind of gush about this graphic novel for a second, and update that I'm on page 300. I took off my hoodie and I put my hair up, but it is still Tuesday, and I finished On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden, and I really loved it. 5 stars. It's beautiful. It's like my ideal graphic novel. It's absolutely stunning. The story is so beautiful and quiet and emotional and all the things that I love. And I just am so happy that I picked this up. I would definitely recommend this to anybody, really, just anybody. It features a female-female romance. It's set in space. It's about love. It's about growing up. It's just lovely. That officially is my exceeds expectations grade in charms. So pretty happy about that. It's day 6 of the readathon. I've read 6 books, which means I am 50% done with the Mind Medic requirements. I'm feeling really super proud of myself for reading so much and for finding some new favorite books. I think I am gonna take a bit of a break from reading, but maybe I'll pick something up later. We will see. You will know in a second, and I will have to wait a couple hours to figure out what I'm doing with my life. So it is a new day, and the first order of business is to pick my new read. So A Long Way Down is a story written in verse. Love from A to Z is like a hard-hitting contemporary, maybe with a bit of romance. And Spin the Dawn is a fantasy world, and it's kind of like Mulan meets Project Runway. And I think I'm going to start Spin the Dawn. Maybe read like 50 pages and see what it's all about and if I want to continue. There's a thunderstorm going on. And I just finished the first 50 pages of Spin the Dawn. I have a couple of thoughts. First off, there is a scene pretty early on where the main character, Maya, is in a carriage for 5 days and she manages to knit 2 sweaters. I have been knitting for 19 years, since I was 6 years old, and I have never once finished a sweater in like less than 5 days. And I know everybody else had, like, people have their speeds. Some people can knit really fast, some people can't knit very fast, but like I have dedicated the majority of my time for a full week. Like, I just watched TV and knit. That's all I did for 5 days, and I finished 1 sweater. And I just feel like Elizabeth Lim, the author, like, just doesn't know how much work knitting a sweater is. But whatever. The second thing that I have a bit of an issue with is this is a fantasy world. So obviously it's like Chinese inspired, Asian inspired fantasy world. My question is, if you're gonna build a whole new world, why would you put gender roles into it? Like, why can't a daughter also become a tailor? Like, there's no reason to have that gender bias in there. The premise of this is that the main character is the daughter of a tailor, and the emperor calls in her father to become the new, to take part in a competition to become the royal tailor. And she cuts her hair and disguises herself as a boy to take part in this competition to like make sure that she can take care of her family. Right now, in the first 50 pages, it would make absolutely no difference if, like, anybody can be the royal tailor. Here's a competition between the 12 best people in the land, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Like, it would make literally no difference. And I don't understand why it's like, she's disguised herself as a boy. She has to keep this huge secret. Maybe that will become clear later on, but right now I'm just like, why is that? It could just be like Fantasy Project Runway, and I would be cool with that. So we'll see what happens. So I thought I would talk about my thoughts and feelings while reading this book. I only have a couple of slight qualms with this book. One being, I still don't understand why Maya has to disguise herself as a boy to, you know, compete in this competition. And it's not like, I don't feel like the whole being disguised as a boy is like a huge part of this book, actually, and so then I don't know why it needs to be included, but I guess that's my personal preference, and it does definitely show some growth of what I like in a fantasy novel, because I used to read a lot of books where like the girl would disguise themselves as a boy. When I picked this up and when I started reading this, I thought the first book in this series was going to be the main character, Maya, competing in this like Project Runway like competition to become the tailor of the Emperor. But that is just like the first third of the book, and now the plot has completely changed, and she's like not even in the palace. She's off on a completely different quest. And so I was not expecting that, and I think maybe that's like kind of, maybe the author didn't know if they were going to get sequels for this book, although the second book is announced. I don't know. I thought it was just, it was surprising for me. I thought that this was much more going to be a like political maneuvering based court intrigue, and it's more like an actual quest. But it is definitely super readable. I'm flying through it. I do enjoy spending time with these characters. I don't know really anything about this world. Just a couple names that I keep forgetting. And like the magic system hasn't been explained. Only briefly conflict within this world is only briefly touched upon, and I don't really know anything about the world, so I'm hoping that maybe in the last little bit of this book or in its sequels there will be more about the world, because I really don't know much about it. So yeah. It is just about 6 p.m. On this Wednesday, so I think if I just sit down and read for a couple more hours, I will have finished. I will be able to finish this book, and that means I will have read 7 books for the NEWTS Readathon, which is super crazy, but also awesome. So it is just about 11:30 this evening, and I finished Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. I think I'm gonna rate this book 3 stars. My opinion of this book hasn't really changed since the first 50 chapters. It's a pretty good story. There's potential. It's super readable. There was more potential. I didn't think anything was high stakes enough, because there were so many challenges like squished into 300 pages that you never felt like the urgency of anything, or I didn't feel the urgency for any of the plot points. Like there's a romance in this book, and there's the potential to have it be really angsty, and it just wasn't. And I'm a bit salty about that, if I'm being honest. But it's a good read. 7th book for the NEWTS Magical Readathon, read. So Spin the Dawn was the Exceeds Expectations prompt for potions, and that prompt was to read a book with your house colors on it. So I did it. 7 books done. Gonna go to bed now. So it is a new day and we're back again trying to decide which book I should read today. So Friday marks the day where August is getting a bit busy for me. There's a lot of things going on. So I think I'm going to try and read Love from A to Z today so that I can have a quick read on Friday with A Long Way Down, because I think I'll get through that quicker because it's in verse. So I'm going to read the hard-hitting contemporary today, and I hope I don't cry. It is just past 6 o'clock in the evening and I've read 0 pages today, so today might be the day that I do not complete a book as part of the NEWTS Readathon, and I am a bit upset about it. My plan right now is also not to read, it's to make dinner, and then we'll see if I can pick up Love from A to Z by s.k.ali. So it is 10 o'clock at night on this Thursday, and an hour ago I still hadn't read a single page today, so I decided to pick up Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds and finish this because I really wanted to finish 8 books in 8 days because I'm extra like that and I love a good challenge. So Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds is written in verse, so it was a very quick 300-page read. Also, it is a really compelling book, so it really just flew by. I thought it was heartbreaking and very emotional and very powerful. I didn't know what this was going in. This is also a book from my fairy godmother, Sam, and I had just heard how good it was. I mean, you can kind of tell there's like 4 stickers on here. It is written in verse, and it follows a young man called Will. He's 15 years old and his brother is shot, and it follows the 60 seconds, I think, as he's going down the elevator the day afterwards, and it kind of explores a sense of duty and a lot of questions about if Will is going to follow these rules or not. So I give this book 4 stars, and this book fulfills the prompt for exceeds expectations in Defense Against the Dark Arts, which was to pick a book, the first book that you remember from your TBR. Hello everyone, it is like noon on Friday, and I thought I would update for the day. So I am trying to get a lot of stuff done on Friday. I think I'm done with my days of leisure. I wanted to update on my reading because I have done some reading today. I am halfway through Love from A to Z by s.k.ali. I love the 2 main characters, and I just think it's really well written and interesting story so far. It does deal with a lot of hard-hitting topics: Islamophobia, MS diagnosis, harassment, and so it is a hard-hitting contemporary, but it is also a story about 2 people meeting and starting to like each other, and it is a love story, so I'm excited to see what happens in this. My plan is to get some stuff done around the house, like I said, and to finish this book, because 9 books in 9 days, people. I'm going for it. It's a couple hours later and I finished Love from A to Z by s.k.ali. It talks a lot about prejudice, harassment, and but at the heart of this, it's a love story between 2 unapologetically Muslim teenagers who have their own stuff going on, their own challenges, their own life, but they find each other and they start something beautiful, and it's a love story. I thought this book was just like my type of contemporary. I thought it was really heartfelt and wonderful, and yeah, I gave it 4 stars. So I just like a minute ago finished Holy Sister by Mark Lawrence, and thus I have completed all of the 5 prompts to get the exceeds expectations grades to like level up and finally become a mind medic. I'm also leaving my apartment in 30 minutes to go on a trip until Thursday, so I thought I would wrap this vlog up and talk about the 5 books that I've read in the past 5 days. So for the subject of charms, for the prompt to get the exceeds expectations grade, the prompt was to read a graphic novel, and I read On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. For the subject of Defense Against the Dark Arts, for the prompt to get the exceeds expectations grade, which was to read the first book that you remembered from your TBR, I read Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, which is a book written in verse that is like 60 seconds of the main character's life. I gave this book 4 stars. For the subject of Muggle studies, for the exceeds expectation prompt, which was to read a contemporary book, I read and completed Love from A to Z by S.K.Ali. I loved this book as well, and I gave this book 4 stars as well. And for the subject of potions, for the exceeds expectations prompt, I read Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. I gave this book 3 stars because it had a lot of potential, but I was hoping for more. And this prompt was to read a book with your house colors on it. For the subject of transfiguration, I completed just a couple minutes ago Holy Sister by Mark Lawrence, which was to fulfill the prompt to read a book that was not the first in a series. I think I'm going to give this book 3 stars because the ending was pretty good, but I was upset the entire novel. So all in all, 3 stars, and I am glad that I read this trilogy. So that means that I've completed 10 books so far in the month of August as part of the NEWTS Magical Readathon, and I only technically have 2 more books on my TBR. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you're reading a great book, and I will see you in my next video.